Welcome to the Rustic Garden Homestead. I just had this fence built. I'll link the video that talks about design principles to keep deer and rabbit out. But today I'm going to show you how to start setting up this space for your raised beds, for your earth beds, for your containers, and just go over all the steps. You don't need to worry if your space isn't this large. You can just adapt the principles to fit the size of the garden bed, or plot that you're going to be using in your yard. So the first thing we're going to do is obviously clean up all the stakes, move them out of the way, and I'm going to take a lawnmower on its lowest setting and I'm going to cut all the grass down. You could remove it all if you want. That's a lot of work, so I'm going to show you some shortcuts on how you can get around that. But we're going to remove as much of the leafy growth as we can. We're going to put down weed barrier and do a couple of things principle-wise to just show you how you can best use your time so you can get to turning the earth beds, getting the space available for you to plant your vegetables, your flowers. So I cut the grass down, lowest setting of a lawnmower. I also went over the chunks of dirt that were around here and just kind of pulverized it. If you do decide to do that, it's going to dull your blade, so just be aware. Don't use it on a lawnmower that you're going to use regularly to cut your grass. I use this one specifically for this purpose, or you got to know how to sharpen your blades. But I went through the whole yard with the lawnmower, cut the grass down, and this is kind of my blank slate. And what's pretty cool is right in here, I don't know if you can see it, but down the center you can see depressions. Something was there, so I'm going to get my metal detector and go over this area before I start building on it and just see what might be around there. You can see it better, like right in there. So that depression, something was here. I don't know if it was a building, maybe they had gardens here, but you can see, took care of everything. We're going to use weed block that's porous. You always want something that's porous. You could use paper, you could use cardboard. Here's a tip too. You can see that I'm using cardboard to line my asparagus patch by putting the earth that I dug out to create the patch on here, grass side down. I'm just going to let the sun bake that, let that weaken, let that die, and I will use this to kind of fill wherever I have these little pits, little dips in the soil or in the plot. But I'm not going to fill everything first. First I'm going to start with, and it may sound a little counterintuitive, but coming from this gate is going to be a walking path straight to the other side, straight down the middle. To the right and to the left will be raised beds, and then there's going to be cattle panel 8 foot tall, making a tunnel through here for me to grow different things. Maybe not the whole length, but something along that line. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the garden fabric right down the middle, create my walking path, and we'll do that tomorrow. It's getting kind of late. So first step, cut the grass down. You could take a weed whacker, you could cut it back, but you just want to beat it down, and then we're going to start digging out the garden. So the first thing you want to do is decide where you're going to be walking. I recommend putting down the garden fabric. You could use cardboard if you want to save money, but just strip out where you're going to be walking. Mulch is going to go on top of there. Coming around this way, same thing. Fabric where I'm going to be walking or where no plants will be growing. Right down the middle where the blueberries are, I put in cardboard because I want that to rot away. But this is the quickest and easiest way to really transform your garden over. So you're going to need weed block, weed fabric, and then get these 4-inch staples, which you just drop in to the fabric, and that will hold it in place. So I'm going to get to mulching all this, and then we'll get to digging. So you get the idea. I'm going to mulch in basically the areas that I walk. Use cardboard around the plants. Any place that you're going to plant, use cardboard, it'll decay. This is going to be a 3-part series if you want to subscribe to my channel, but this is the starting point. Get the walking path set up with the fabric, the garden fabric. Use cardboard in other places. Fabric will go on the opposite side of those containers, and I will mulch in this whole area. Set up the raised beds. Let me cut in here and just show you real quick how I prepared these raised beds, and I'll link a video for a bigger build to a video I did a couple of years ago. The framed raised beds that I'm making are going to be 4 feet by 8 feet. These are 8-foot boards. These are 2 by 6s. This is probably the lowest I would go. A 2 by 8, 2 by 10, 2 by 12 is probably better. But this is really just to frame out the area and really allow me to put the resources in the middle. It's not raised that high from the ground. Make sure you pre-drill holes before you assemble it. So I basically took an 8-foot board, cut it in half, put in 2 drill holes. We're going to use 4-inch screws to secure it, and we're just going to take an 8-foot board, put one on each side, and that will make my 4x8 raised bed. Alright, so that's the quick basics. Just make sure you pre-drill the hole, because a lot of times this wood can crack. Now these are 6 inches tall. Not a really high raised bed. If you want something higher, you can go 8, 10, 12, 14 inches. Put in your amendments, put in your soil, and it's a great way to do it. This is, you know, a little bit of a raised bed, but it's really to frame out my space, give me an idea of where I need to walk. I will put cardboard down here, I'll put mulch down there. I'm sorry, I'll put plastic down here because this is going to be a place that's permanently for walking. But these are 4 foot by 8 foot beds. I'll be using cattle panel to set up trellises for beans. Subscribe, I'll show you how I do all that. And here's the general idea. So along here, I'll put raised beds framed in, going to create a cattle panel tunnel in portions of this for growing beans, cucumbers, and melons. And then along here, it's pretty much going to look like what I just showed you. Raised bed, 4x8, cardboard down the middle, walking space. Again, you have a 4 foot by 8 foot bed, so your arms are about 2 feet. You can reach in and take care of it. That'll probably do 8 to 10 beds along here. I'll probably do, say, 1, 2, 3, 4 along here with greater spaces for walking around. Maybe just do plain old earth beds through there, but you know, I kind of like sculpting. Had the vision for the design of the fence, was going to start with a rectangle, but the land just didn't let me do that, so I'm kind of going with the flow. But this is going to be plenty of space. I recommend go to Home Depot, go to Lowe's, 8 foot boards, cut them in half. That gives you your 4 foot frame. Right over here, the easiest way to do it. They will even cut the wood for you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, please subscribe. This is going to be a 3-part series, and I'm going to continue to build out this space, and I will do video 2. Thanks for watching.